Hi everyone, I'm Shane Stevenson, Curator and Director of Museum Collections here at the Buffalo Naval Park. And today this video is going to be talking about some of the artifacts in our collection. All right, most specifically, some of our battle ensigns and jacks that flew over U.S. naval ships, and also some captured flags from various conflicts. All right, and we are standing in the Admiral's legal office, and which is also known as the Admiral's deck or the flag deck. All right, so we do have the designation stamp that says flag on it. So this would have been behind a combination locked door, and this is where the Admiral's legal files and correspondence were kept. So the first flag we'll cover is from the USS William C. Miller, DE 259. So before we talk a little bit about her service, who was William C. Miller? Well, he was assigned to Scouting Squadron 6 out of Pearl Harbor, and he was born in Thomasville, North Carolina. And it just so happens on that fateful day on December 7th that he and his pilot were out scouting, and as a radio man, he was in the seat behind the pilot looking aft. All right, when they came across all the squadrons coming to attack our fleet and the base at Pearl Harbor on that morning. Obviously, being terribly outnumbered, they expelled all of their ammunition that they could, but the plane went down. The pilot was able to parachute out and survived, while radio man Miller wasn't able to get out of the plane, and it crashed and he perished. An Evart class destroyer escort was named after him. So she was put into commission in July of 1943 and immediately went to the Pacific. She was there at the battle and occupation of Eniwetok, of Saipan, and Tinian, and she was there as an occupying force when the Japanese surrendered in Tokyo Bay. She won 7 battle stars for her meritorious actions in World War II, which is very good for a destroyer escort. But she is well known for sinking the Japanese submarine I-55 during that battle and subsequent occupation of Saipan. So she unloaded almost all of her depth charges, and they were able to sink over the course of 7 hours. They were able to track and sink submarine I-55. She was taken out of commission and she was scrapped in 1947. So this is her battle ensign. So this was one of the flags that she flew during World War II action. You can definitely see all of the wind damage. There's a lot of holes. And unfortunately, it wasn't written on the hoist. A lot of times the crew will put the name of the ship, right? But the records that we have show that this was from the William C. Miller, as the record was with the flag. All right, so let's take a look at our next flag. All right, the Venerable Shamrock of the USS the Sullivans, circa about 1952. We still fly a flag like this today above the USS the Sullivans, and for this summer we have a nice surprise where we're going to be flying a couple other flags above USS the Sullivans, DD 537. So as best we can tell, this was from about 1952, 1953. It certainly could have been from her world cruise with Destroyer Squadron 21. That set sail and then did bombarding during the Korean War, and then sailed around the world and came back to port. So USS the Sullivans was one of the lucky ships that was actually able to have a personal emblem that they were able to fly on board, like a flag like this, and they also painted a shamrock on her forward stack as well. So this is a wonderful flag that we have that has a lot of history. We'll never fly her above the USS the Sullivans today, but she's on display and really nicely framed and preserved. Starting in 1883, the Korean Peninsula used the Taeguchi flag, which is what we think of as the South Korean flag today, and that's with the red and the blue yin and yang sign representing balance. So that was used from 1883 up until 1948, when the country was split north and south, and the north became communist and the south remained free. So this flag became the national flag of North Korea, and it was approved by the People's Assembly. And one of the more interesting things was it was actually created in Moscow itself. So the Korean people didn't even create their own flag, but they felt it represented the communist ideals. So when the Korean War started, this flag was captured along the way. Unfortunately, we don't have much provenance or a history of the flag in our records, but again, she is preserved nicely. We had her nicely framed and preserved, and now she is on display here on the USS Little Rock. All right, now I got to head over to the museum and we'll highlight some more flags. Well, hi everyone, and now we're in the second floor of our museum building, and I'm standing in front of one of my favorite artifacts in our collection. And we've converted the second floor of our museum to honor the 75th anniversary of the ending of World War II. So we've converted this whole space up here, and if you've never been here, we hope you come in and visit and enjoy the exhibits and learning a little bit about Western New York's place in World War II. For this flag, this is a fabulous flag, and we've got some Japanese provenance, all right? So it's written in Japanese where the flag came from. So I know you're not able to see it, but it does say Ship 66, Commissioning Battle Ensign. Right, so this was actually, doing a little research, this came from a Type D Kaibukan, which was a coastal defense ship. So she was about 230 feet in length. She was armed with 9 guns, and like her American counterpart, she would defend and patrol the coasts of Japan and other occupied territory. So on 13 of March 1945, she was sunk by American air power, but somehow, which I don't know unfortunately, the flag was recovered. So I actually worked with the University at Buffalo in their Japanese department to translate the language up on the hoist, because I wasn't able to read it. And so yes, it was ship number 66, which is part of the Type D Kaibukan Coastal Defense Fleet. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a total of 68 of them constructed during World War II. All right, let's move on to the next flag. Well, here we have another beautiful captured flag. This is from the Japanese Army, and it's called the Yoshikage Hinomaru, otherwise known as a good luck flag. Right, so this flag, unfortunately, we don't have the provenance. We don't know what the name of the soldier that it came from. But one of the things with the good luck flag, it was given to soldiers going off to war and to remind them of the people at home and why they're fighting, and that they should be fighting honorably against the enemy. Right, so if you can see, there's writing all around the white part of the flag, and that would have been from family, friends, and co-workers of the soldier heading off to war. And they would be wishing them good luck, giving them words of encouragement. And we've preserved her really nicely behind this UV protected frame, and so she could be enjoyed by generations to come. It would be a fabulous thing in the future if I could work with some students of the Japanese language at a university to get what we can read translated. All right, so if you have anyone that you know of, please feel free to leave a comment about that. But traditionally, this is a good luck flag given to Japanese soldiers before they leave for war. Well, here we have a battle ensign from a sub-chaser. So this is from USS PC 586, right, which served in the Pacific War. All right, now this was given to us by the son of the man who served aboard, David Clark of Lockport, New York, which is only about 20 miles north of the city of Buffalo. And with it came a wealth of information. So David Clark served on the subchaser PC-586, and they were caught in one of the typhoons during World War II. He was a signal and searchlight man, so he actually had to man his station with the signal and the searchlight during the typhoon itself. And this flag, in honoring and thanking David Clark, was given the flag by the commanding officer. So after his father passed, within the last few years, his son found this flag along with the note attached saying how he had received it. So this gives wonderful insight into why we have to document all of our artifacts, and we hope that when someone donates artifacts to us, that there's already some provenance given so that we can tell the story and make it more engaging for the visitor. But this is a fabulous flag. There is a lot of weather wear towards the end of the flag at the opposite of the hoist end. And now we can tell the story that it lived through a typhoon. And thankfully, so did David Clark. Well, this Jack flag is something that's near to the hearts of many Western New Yorkers, as it flew on the bow of a ship named after someone from Buffalo in Western New York. Right, so this is from the USS Harold J. Ellison, which is DD-864. So a little about the USS Harold J. Ellison and who he was as a person. Well, he was from Buffalo, and he was a naval aviator, and he was assigned to Squadron 8 during the Battle of Midway from the USS Hornet. So if you're familiar with that, they were using outdated planes, and they went on a torpedo attack, the Japanese fleet, after it had been located, and all of the planes were shot down and scored 0 hits on the Japanese fleet. Out of the 30 pilots and navigators that went, only 1 survived out of all 30, and Harold Ellison was not one of them. Right, so they named this ship, this destroyer, in honor of him. So the ship was put into commission in 1945, June of 1945, so towards the end of the war, and then she served with the 6th Fleet in the Mediterranean Sea. She was sold to Pakistan, who then used her until 1993 or 1994, and she was scrapped and taken out of service in 1994. This flag has some great provenance on the hoist end. I know you might not be able to see it, but it does say USS H.J. Ellison, DD-864, and then the month that it flew, September 1954. So with that, we know that this flag flew in September of 1954 on the bow of the Harold J. Ellison. When you come to visit us on USS Little Rock, we also have a display honoring Harold Ellison. Also on display here in our World War II exhibit is a Blue Star service flag. So while the history of the flag goes back to Ohio during World War I, the Department of Defense didn't sanction and codify this flag until World War II. Right, so the stars represent the number of family members that are serving at that moment. And a wife, a husband, siblings, a mom, dad would be able to fly this flag or display it in their home. This DoD directive also went to employers. So if they had employees who were serving during wartime, they would also be sanctioned to fly or display this flag at their place of work. While this was the first service flag, they also created a Gold Star service flag, and that represents While this is family members who are serving, the gold star represents family members who were killed during combat. All right, and so the history also is connected to Buffalo, New York, in the sense that during World War I, Buffalo created a Buffalo Will See It Through campaign. And they used this flag as the emblem for those posters and that material to keep support for World War I. But again, it wasn't officially sanctioned by the Department of Defense until World War II. All right, the last flag that we'll be highlighting in our collection here in our World War II exhibit is from the Mare Island Naval Yard. Now, the Mare Island Naval Yard was an extremely important shipyard on the West Coast in California. So not only did she construct submarines for World War II, she was really the #1 repair shipyard for all of the vessels in the Pacific Theater. What's really cool about this flag is that it's a port flag. We have a lot of provenance here. If you can see, we have an original piece of masking tape that's still stuck to the flag that says the word port on it. And all along the hoist end, it says Mare Island, February 1944, and port flag set, 1 of 3. So not only was the shipyard a repair station for a lot of the vessels that got damaged in the Pacific Theater, but they also had a flag department, and they would create flags. At the height of the war, about 50,000 people worked at this shipyard. And I know you're wondering the name Mare Island. It does come from mare, meaning horse, right? Which horses were on this island before the shipyard was built. So this is a really unique flag, and it's really large too. So again, when you come down to the Naval Park, please see all of these flags for yourself, and we hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and again, we can always use your donations to help keep our ships afloat, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.